Now you might be watching this and be like, bro, why do you have two clarinets? Literally just use one. Who needs a second one, okay? Like, it's not like you're gonna fit two in your mouth. I noticed that one is slightly taller than the other. Let's put them right up next to each other. See, this one's, this left one's just a little taller. If you don't know, this is the normal clarinet. You call it the B flat clarinet. Well, this one's the A clarinet, which also could be pronounced as a clarinet because it is a, you know, a clarinet. I thought that was clever, but perhaps you don't really care. Long story short, I don't own this A clarinet, but I am doing an opera, which is pretty fun. I got called in. I don't get paid though. Kind of a scam. But I got an A clarinet, which is kind of fun. So I wanted to make a video about it, talking about the A clarinet, because I probably won't get this chance to for at least a little while, because I don't plan on buying one. You'd think that they'd be cheaper because they're more niche, but they're actually more expensive because they're more niche. So, you know, your typical A clarinet is going to cost you way more than your typical B flat, and you know, and you're also never going to play it. So it's really only used in OG orchestra music and opera music, which is what I'm doing. I'm actually playing here. Let me grab it real quick. The Marriage of Figaro. I got the clarinet one part stolen from me, by the way, just for the record. I could have played it though. But either way, The Marriage of Figaro, if you don't know it, just think about that one song that's like, you know what I'm talking about, okay? Today I wanted to do a great little review of the A clarinet, just my thoughts on it, okay? Because I have a lot of controversial takes on the A clarinet, okay? I think it's pretty stupid, but I'm also pretty lazy. So why use an A clarinet? Well, an A clarinet is actually just a half step of notes above the B flat clarinet. So if I played an A on the B flat clarinet, that would be a B flat on the A clarinet. You might notice, you know, if I have a piece that has maybe 6 flats, then if I use the A clarinet, you can actually get away with basically playing no flat. I actually had a friend who, a trial audition, an audition on a certain scale, and it was the B major scale. And you know, the B major scale has 6 flats. And this guy literally just pulled up with his A clarinet, and he basically just played the C major scale, because that's basically what it is. He basically played it without any flats, no flats at all, and he did pretty well in that audition. So if you're ever in that very precise scenario where they can't notice that you're using an A clarinet, that's a great little way to finagle the audition committee. But also, I do feel like the tone is a little different. It definitely feels weirder to hold an A clarinet. The keys are just farther apart, so holding it feels a lot longer. And because my hands are quite big, I'm quite meaty, juicy little fingertips, right? It feels a lot more natural to hold than a B flat clarinet. I also play bass clarinet, so you know, I know it's in the channel name, but that might be a part of it. Either way, here, let me give you a comparison on what it sounds like to play the Mozart clarinet concerto on the A clarinet versus the B flat clarinet. And then here's on the B flat clarinet. And then here is them overlapped together, and it probably sounds really bad right now. Luckily, I don't have to hear it while I'm recording, but yeah, basically you don't want to combine them. If you play a B flat clarinet part on the A clarinet or vice versa, it's just going to sound really bad. And live transposing, especially stuff that goes pretty fast, you know, the clarinet parts, they kind of just doesn't really sound like that. But you know what I'm saying. There's a lot of notes in there, okay? Once you get to grade 5, right? So it's very, very convenient to have a clarinet that can, you know, I don't have to transpose. I don't have to think, because thinking is bad for you, you know? Life is all about not thinking, doing immediate gratification, as much social media as possible. That's what life's all about, okay? Something also to note is that it feels very different to play a clarinet in A. When you're playing, it just feels kind of odd. I've noticed that I've had to actually practice on the A. If you're good at B flat, you can't just go on the A. Probably sound okay. But if you really want to sound good on the A clarinet, you're actually gonna have to practice it, which is kind of messed up, you know? Because I thought, who practices these days, okay? Two-step violin quit. Why do I need to practice 40 hours anymore? You know what I'm saying? No, you still have to practice the A clarinet just to get used to where the fingers are, as well as just how it sounds. I also noticed, it might just be this A clarinet, but I squeak a lot more, and you might know from my popular video, when the video ends, when I stop squeaking, which lasted 40 seconds, I'm a bit of a squeaker, okay? You really gotta put in some work, put in some hours to avoid the squeaking. If you know what I'm saying. if you're thinking about buying an A clarinet, here's my sophisticated advice for you. Don't. Just don't. Because especially if you're a high schooler, you're like, oh, my youth orchestra, I really need to get an A clarinet. Just like rent one, bro. You're never gonna use it outside of this unless you're like super dedicated, which you're probably not. You're probably just a chill guy like me. And I mean, especially in college, they'll just like loan you one. So should basically never get one, okay? Just don't. Save your money. Buy a pillow. Think about how much greater your life would be if you spent like $100 on a super good pillow. Every day you would sleep better. Also, funny thing, this opera is 2.5 hours long, and my thing is this thick. This is possibly the most sleeper part I've ever had. Like, I'm just gonna fall asleep for half of this opera. Whenever I'm in rehearsal, I have to have some books up on my screen just so that I can stick with it. But you know, so God forbid I accidentally play a A clarinet part on the B flat, right? That's why you need the A clarinet, okay? That's why you need to go around begging. You'd be surprised what you can get away with if you just like ask for stuff, you know? Wow, that almost fell on me. You saw that? Also, while I'm here at this piano, let me give you a great little rendition, okay? If you couldn't tell, I actually don't know how to play piano. That was the joke. Okay? Thanks for joking along with me. One question I had when I found out about the A clarinet was thinking, is there more? Does the hole go deeper? And unfortunately it does. There's a C clarinet. If you're being forced to play C clarinet, I think it's time to rethink your life choices. There's also the bass clarinet, but you already know about that one, hopefully. I mean, the channel is called Bass Clarinet Brian. Hopefully you kind of get that. Kind of a good name as well, by the way, guys. Comment if Bass Clarinet Brian is a fantastic name because it just rhymes so well. Bass Clarinet Brian, BCB, the double B in there, like it's so satisfying to, you know, say out loud. You know what I'm saying? It's a funny story. There was one time in high school where I was in youth orchestra and I had an A clarinet. And the funny thing about the A clarinet, in the beginning of the video I showed you, you have a stand with 2 clarinets normally. So you can swap clarinets, you know, with your stand partner if they're not looking, you know. You can do a little tricksy and then they pick it up and they're like, what the hell, this is not my clarinet. And then they get tricked. And there was one time, there was this girl I did that to, and then she thought it was funny. Topic of other clarinets, there's also the E flat clarinet, which is a smaller clarinet, and it's actually cool. It's kind of as cool as the bass clarinet in a way, except, you know, the weird thing about the E flat clarinet is it's already like super high, and then all the notes people, you know, composers give it are just like super high, which makes it very hard to play. It's also very small. You know, my grimy, meaty hands are not a big fan of the E flat clarinet. Anyway, I don't know why I slapped my knee. I thought it was a bit of a knee slapper. It's been a fantastic video. It's been a great few minutes with you to talk about the A clarinet, you know. Think about what you've just watched on YouTube, okay? You just watched your slop for the last 30 minutes, but now you get this beautiful video about the A clarinet, okay? And that's a great reason that you should subscribe, all right? Because we're posting great clarinet videos that are just fantastic, okay? No more brain rot slop for you, bucko. It's time to grow up. It's time to watch some sophisticated clarinet videos, all right? And that's why you should subscribe, so I can get more subscribers, because bigger number means I'm a better person. And when I go up to women, I can be, look at my subscriber number. I'll hold up my phone, I'll be, look, lady, I got 100,000 subscribers, all right? I'll be like, I was the first clarinet channel to do that, all right? Your spasm couldn't beat me.